You're listening to Health Coach Conversations, a podcast where our conversations help health coaches all around the world to level up our businesses and to get more clients. Hello.
Hi there.
Why don't you start by telling us about you and how you ended up here?
So I like to start when I was in high school and I kind of knew things were different. My emotions were always at the ends of the spectrum, a lot of anxiety. Meanwhile, I'm also jumping into things. While I was in high school, I became an EMT at the local rescue squad. And I like to say I jumped into the deep end pool of life, but I certainly didn't know how to handle my emotions. And I didn't know how to handle the high school, the growing up, moving on towards college emotions, let alone life or death, which I started to face with all of the calls I went on. And it was at this point that I kind of started to see, and it felt like everybody meant that emotions were something to be hidden from, or we hide from them. That was the safe route to go. Especially with the medical field, a lot of times it's really tough to face the truth on things. And, you know, as I'm 16, 17, 18 years old, this was really hard to deal with. And I started hiding away, which turned to drinking, another way to hide from my emotions. Or when the extreme emotions came out, like the anxiety and things, what happened was I tried all these short-term solutions just to get through the day. It's kind of how I describe it. So I'm moving along in life and I'm trying to get through, but I'm really not enjoying things as I'm going to college. Then I progressed and made it through that to go to working in the IT field, the information technology field. And I'm working at bigger companies, which you can imagine, greater challenges. We have more and more emotions, more struggles. And what I didn't know at the time is I'm undiagnosed at this point, but with bipolar disorder, anxiety disorders, now alcoholism, and PTSD from things I'd seen on the rescue squad. So I'm not dealing with any of those, of course. I'm hiding from all of those struggles, and they're just compounding the effect. So as I go along, I like to tell people on the outside, my life is going in that upward trajectory. You're seeing getting married, working at different jobs, moving into bigger companies. And at the same time, inside, I'm crumbling as I can't handle more and more of the challenges. And I keep hiding from things in life. Now, the reason I bring all that up was what happened was this went on basically from high school up until I was 40. So I'm undiagnosed still, starting to maybe think there's definitely problems, but I am powerless. And it was at that point that everything came crashing down. I felt there was no chance to actually even go through these challenges. Even as I started to kind of pick up what they might be, I felt powerless again. And I decided to end everything. I tried to end my life. And it was at that point when I got a second chance that I actually looked around and said, I need to find a different approach. I need to. And I suddenly realized after much in-depth looking that everything I had feared in my emotions, they were the things that could free me. That were the things, if I could manage them, then I could open up all the doors in life and be able to do all those things that I had struggled through so much more. And that was really the big turning point. So it was at that point I decided I felt so powerful about this that I left the IT field and decided to create this mental health warrior program and bring my experiences and talk to people from what I like to call what can we do level. There's always the advanced levels, but instead of rushing to that, I wanted to empower myself and everybody else at that beginner level, if you will, because again, with ourselves throughout 24/7, which means if we're empowered, boy, we could handle every challenge that comes up. And a lot of that was then I went through and I learned things like I became a personal trainer, became a health coach, became a nutrition coach. And I took all those factors and tried to tie them together with how they could help my mental health. And so did research and also using it in my life for all those years. And I found I was able to manage all of my mental health challenges the last 15 years with this being a mental health warrior. And essentially it's focused on or centered around, if you like, lifestyle and mindset changes. So it's some of the thinking and changing how we think, but also making lots of lifestyle changes that allowed me to build that strong mental health.
How is it different from other mental health initiatives or programs?
Well, first off, I build it all based on experiences from the inside. So all the people, myself included, that I have met on my journey and tried to build it from what do we need? What can help you on that from the inside? So I definitely understand the challenges. The biggest part is it's a self-help approach. and it's really self-help, self-empowerment. And the idea is, with all of these changes, we are never without tools or ways we can take action in our life every day to actually make changes that occur almost right away. You can change your mindset and use some things to take back control at any point of your day. I like to think it's one of those things that will also set you up for, if you need advanced help, that it makes you more in tune with things. Because again, I went to help and get some advanced help, but I was resistant. So again, I'm trying to help people come to terms with, yes, we have challenges. That's okay. So the difference really is to focus on the person and give them the tools that they can start using right away, without till they need help, advanced help. Definitely you can go for that and use that. But I like to say this is a really neat way to empower people from the gate, right away.
What is the difference between responding and reacting to challenges in life?
Well, that was one of the core pieces when I first started creating some warrior tools. Was respond, not react, became one of the mindset rules. And it in turn has become almost like a cornerstone of the program. And what it means is, and people have asked me this, is like, if you actually give yourself just a few seconds, even that literal pause, you can actually calm yourself down, be emotionally centered, and you will stop choosing quick solutions or reacting. The best way I could describe it is, if I felt enormous pressure or anxiety, I might just immediately turn to alcohol. I'm going to use that to hide from it that night, or I'm going to try and avoid it even. I'm just going to skip the meetings. But if I calm myself by responding, I know I have the tools and I can put myself in a good spot to now say, oh, I can go to this meeting. I can talk to all of these people. And instead of avoiding things, we can learn to respond.
Yeah, sometimes just sleeping on it helps too, doesn't it?
Yes.
Chance to respond instead of react.
And I think today I bring it up as an important part because everything is, we get pings on our cell phones every 5 seconds. Everything's quick. Mm-hmm. And I'm just trying to say, if we slow down and take that 1/2 step, just slowing down our thinking, especially with emotions, we realize we don't want to react to them and then make another bad choice. And I felt what I was doing was I was basically building a cycle where my bad choices then brought in more problems. And eventually I had so many problems that I didn't know where to turn.
How does self-empowerment play a crucial role?
Well, that's, again, have learned from doing health coaching or personal training, that intrinsic motivation, what you want to do is definitely the most powerful force out there. And so I want people to be excited to say, I have the power to work with my emotions. I have the power to accept all of them, the tough ones, the really challenging ones. I can learn lessons from them. And I like to tell people it gives you the power, because a lot of times when I talk to people, like they're struggling with anxiety or depression, you wake up at 2 a.m. and you're stuck with just you and your thoughts, like literally in the dark. And if you have the tools there to take charge and to be able to respond, to be able to think through what's going on, you can usually get back control. You could stop those racing thoughts with various tools. And so that's the really important part of that self-empowerment, is just like I was describing, I don't want anybody or myself to ever feel powerless. And so all of these tools you can weave in and use throughout the day, and you can also have them always at your disposal.
You have something called a one-bag life. How does values figure into that?
Some of what I mentioned, the lifestyle changes, took a hard look at my life, and I asked myself this interesting question. I said, what if everything that made me happy could fit in one bag? Now it's the concept of, wow, of course I couldn't fit all these material goods, all those things I thought we needed. And I was spending so much time on them too, that, we had a big yard and maybe you have a couple cars and a house. And next thing you know, you actually have no time to do anything but chores and all the errands. And I said, that's not living life. So the idea of the one bag life is less stuff, more experiences. And it had a huge impact on my mental health, because now, again, I'm valuing experiences. We could certainly fit a lot of those into the bag. And my life is so much more rewarding. Again, sure, we had a lot of physical material goods, but I was never happy. But today I'm happy going out and doing things. And I also like to tell people, one of the parts of the one bag life is the simple things that I missed, because I was so filled with anxiety or so filled with those struggles or so many problems. I would miss the whole mornings, I'd just be rushing through the day. And now I find things like I will go out and maybe grab that Diet Coke in the morning and stop to chat with somebody. Huge impact on my day. And yet it's such a simple thing that everybody can do. And so the idea is that we really go after experiences, and they're all around us. And you'll find so many of these simple ones are really rewarding too. And
That's so funny. I know someone who's gone through a lot of what you have, and I was just talking to her 2 weeks ago, and that's exactly what she's going through right now. As she said, the happiest time of my life was when I had experiences, not things.
Yes.
Yeah, she's trying to dump all of her things and have a lot more experiences, which sounds good.
Yeah. And even the things of just culling it down, because sometimes you think you need 50 things to go out and do your favorite activity or your sports or something like that, or workout. And then you realize, well, just keep it simple. I certainly have more time and more enjoyment in doing that even.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes a big impact.
Turn your expertise into a thriving practice with the Health Coach Group. We provide the support and resources you need to succeed. Your passion, our expertise. Together, we can make a difference. Visit thehealthcoachgroup.com today.
You offer warrior tools in the form of mindset rules in your book, 53 Mindset Rules of a Mental Health Warrior.
Yes.
What are your favorites?
Well, okay. So mindset rules, I call them reminders of simple truths that get lost in the day. And they can really help you do two things: stay out of trouble or keep trouble at bay, and they can get you out of trouble. So a couple of my favorites, and I ended up with so many, that's why the book has 53 of them. So we're really empowered. But mindset rule 43 is you can't control everything in life, but you can choose your response, which I love when things get hectic and crazy, or I have to come to terms and remind myself, well, that really is out of my control, but I can still choose my response. I still can't stop the car from getting a flat tire or something bad from happening, with work, but I can choose a response, and that puts us all back into control. And then a second one is mindset rule 48. And it says, when you're stuck in your head, move your body and your brain will follow. And I love that one because it reminds me, because again, with anxiety and with bipolar spinning me around, a lot of times I get stuck in my head. So I say, oh, get up, your brain will follow. And I find that to be hugely a great way to get out of trouble. I love to do cooking. I love to maybe go out and do a workout. I use that to say, let's break the cycle. Let's change our thinking. And then once I'm out doing that activity, that's what calms me down or gives me time to find a solution. And so that mindset rule is to remind me, don't just sit in one place and kind of get stuck in your head. It encourages me to take action.
Do those naturally come up for you, or do you need to keep Post-it notes everywhere?
No, it's a good question. I actually have a few of them written down.
Yeah.
I keep them on my desk, little scrap of paper, never hurts. I do find too, I keep the book. And what I do, and I tell people this is kind of neat, when I'm stuck, I flip through and just pick a page. And a lot of times the rule can help me start thinking. And it probably ties into, again, like we just talked about, it's that respond, not react. By taking the time to just page through, I've calmed down. I see a little bit of truth in things, and it just helps recenter you. And then I'll just throw in one last one that's kind of funny. First, I'll tell you the rule. It's occasionally eat a donut, because there's more to life than challenges. And we get very serious with mental health, and we're always talking about it. So sometimes I threw that one in just to remind us, hey,
It's not going to kill you.
yes, and it's okay to go out and have a fun day. It's okay to take some downtime or do whatever you need to recharge. And so they're serious, but they're also meant to be, a little bit of fun and enjoy some humor, since we're on a tough subject.
Most of our listeners are health coaches and doctors and nurses and mental health specialists and nutritionists and life coaches. What advice would you give to them working with people on mental health issues?
Well, the biggest thing is to get people to see, one, how much it impacts your life. And the way I tell people to do that a lot of times is to I'll tell them my story, and I'll let people, use my story as a starting point so they can see if it's impacting their life. The reason I say that is originally, I, like a lot of the people, just thought mental health was purely just our emotions. I didn't realize it impacted basically every single thing we did or we do in life. And so I like to tell people that if you work with people to get them to understand, wow, it's impacting all these areas. And then that's where some of my lifestyle changes. Like I have the book on the 3 food rules. I have that book on less stuff, more experiences. The idea is then what can we take action on and what mental health benefits would come from it? I think it's everything I've tried to build. I believe everything can be merged together. So you can have a therapeutic technique with Warrior Tools as well as the action. So if it's a personal trainer or health coach, when they talk about foods, it can be really exciting to show people, well, let's think about the connection beyond just the physical health you'll improve. Think about how it can help your mental health. Think about how removing less sugar and things like that will keep you in a more calm place. I also think it's neat to show people, if they're working, that they have that power in different areas of their life. Like we were talking, you could have less stuff, you could change the way you're eating, you could do your workouts, and then you can see, wow, while I'm working out, because I do this myself, while you're doing a physical activity outside, you could be calming yourself down from some actual anger you had, or you could be rising yourself up from depression. So I like to tell people, one of the things is they could help people to see the connection, and that there is lots of connections that we can merge together and really take action on 2 things at once.
You know, when somebody has a kid that has a broken leg, they tell their friends, oh, Johnny broke his leg. And you have a kid who has depression and nobody says anything.
Right.
They keep it a secret. Do you think that the stigma of mental health challenges hinders people? And how would your program help with that?
Well, I definitely know it does hinder people. It hindered myself even, because it is so hard for even friends and family. They see you struggling, but they don't know the words or how to talk.
And they're ashamed, or you're ashamed?
They want to help. You may even be wanting help, but you don't seem to have the connection because it is so hard, because they're on the outside and we're on the inside of those struggles. And what I like to try to do is I'm hoping the program will help people see both sides of that equation, if you will, and show them that it's okay to talk too, because that's another big part of the program. Obviously, if it's self-help, a lot of it is focused on you and come to terms and first accept I had challenges, and they're lifelong challenges. Bipolar is not going to go away because I decided to be a mental health warrior. But you can lose the fear of those challenges by being able to manage all the emotions and being able to handle all the ends of the spectrum. And I think what we can do is have that conversation where we can start to talk in a positive, instead of initially, and just some years ago when I was first trying to figure this out, and everything was the negative. Everything was, your life should be limited. You can't do a lot. If you have these challenges, be careful. I'm taking the different tack because I have found you can become empowered and you can do anything you want, because you can actually understand and be comfortable with all emotions. And I kind of like to challenge people as I say, think about it. Every time you want to move to a new job or move to a new city, or you have a tough life experience, if you can handle the emotions, then 99 times you'll be able to handle all the steps needed to triumph over it. And it works really well.
I would like to see some kind of programs for not just the people who have the mental health challenges, but the people who have the mental health challenges because they are in relationships or families, or they're living with it too. I would like to see a program for everybody.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm trying to work on that again with various ways that I've put out a podcast, just short episodes trying to give people an inside view. And what I'm trying to do on some of the episodes was tell them what it's like to have anxiety, or what it's like to have bipolar disorder, or articles I write for the blog. And I'm hoping to accomplish a little bit of what you're talking about, get people on the outside being able to see, maybe I can use some of this too. Maybe I can take some of those steps, because you're absolutely correct. When you're on the outside of somebody struggling, you also can feel just as powerless as you can when you're the person stuck with those mental health challenges or disorder. And again, the talking is the biggest part, like we said. if we can get people talking and feel it's okay. And that's one of the big things I'm just trying to do with naming it a mental health warrior. I want people to see it's exciting and fun, and it's not a negative. And so we'll do funny things like we just wear it on our clothing and start conversations because people ask about it. But even if you can bring up mental health to somebody, I love that because you open the door for a conversation. And that really is, boy, then the floodgates can open because people are dying to talk about it. They just need to learn how to be on the same page.
Yeah, they're looking for answers, and it's hard to find them. You have a challenge coin. Can you explain that?
Oh, yes. So I also wanted to have a little bit from my experiences. The military has challenge coins. They're basically about the size of a silver dollar. They represent a challenge or maybe a unit you served at or a mission. I also, when you're struggling, say, with recovery from alcohol, it's really good to have something tangible or visible that you can cling to in tough times. And I looked around, I said, we don't have anything for mental health. So I created this mental health warrior challenge coin. And it has on the front the warrior, and then it's physically fairly heavy. So when it's in your pocket, a lot of times you can use it. Nobody needs to know. If you're struggling with anxiety, you can kind of cling to it. There's also warrior wisdom on the back, again, to remind us of certain things. So I have 4 different ones, one of them being the respond, not react. And a quirky and fun way that people have told me they use it, because again, work can be really stressful, is they'll keep it on their desk at work. And it just keeps them a little bit calmer, because things go bad at work and you want to react, or you're going to big meetings and they just sort of look at the coin before they go in and they're much more centered. And that's the idea. It could
work like a Post-it note too, couldn't it?
Yeah, you can. Exactly. Yes. Anything that works. And the coin is, again, just something tangible we can carry around. I like to say it's how you can carry the warrior program with you, because of course you can carry the books, but that's not always convenient, and standing in the grocery line, start getting nervous. It's great to have the coin to hang on to.
Right. You have a free offer that you are going to give to anybody listening. Can you explain what it is and
Sure.
how to get it?
Yep. So we have a link to the website, to the blog. So I'm writing articles, and I wanted to call these out because this is where I'm trying to get people interested in mental health, but a softer, fun approach. And so I'm using analogies of me meeting and running into favorite movie or TV characters, and it used the mental health warrior program. And we sit down to discuss it. An example is running into John Rambo and talking to him about it, or Winnie the Pooh, who's trying to help some of his friends. Yes, they're definitely fun. And that's, again, some humor, but we get to make it friendly. And within each article, there's at least a couple tools that you can walk away to use from the discussion I have with these characters. So that's something I'd like to call everybody's attention, because I think it's a great way to introduce other people, even a way to talk to family members, is you have a common theme, maybe your favorite character, favorite TV show, and yet we're going to talk about mental health.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you so much for being here with me today. We will put the links to that underneath your show notes so everybody can get in touch with you.
That'll be great. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the show. If you liked what you heard, please give us a 5-star rating or review on iTunes.